When we get to the college football playoff this year, 4 teams get an automatic bye by winning the Power 4 conference championships. Whether the highest 4 rated conference champions is the way it's listed, but it's going to be the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, and the Big 12.
Okay. I'm tracking with you so far.
Then 5 through 12 on-campus games. I pictured that we're just going to seed this thing 5 through 12, and 5, 6, 7, 8 will be the home teams. 9, 10, 11, and 12 would be the visitors.
That seems like the easiest way to do that,
Would
Lance.
you say the easy assumption is whoever the Group 5 is going to be number 12?
I would say 99.9% of the time, yes.
I mean, last year Liberty 1,000% at 13-0 would have been the Group 5.
But that's not going to be fixed. I mean, that's not going to be like they have to be the 12,
No.
but most of the time they are, yes. Okay, I'm tracking so far. Let's go.
Rich Clark is the executive director of the College Football Playoff Committee this year.
Okay.
He says these things will be taken into consideration to host first-round games. Weather, hotel availability, and ticket sales.
It's stupid already.
It is stupid.
You do the best 12 teams in order. Obviously, I know we're going to have the conference champions at the top, so then we go 5 through 12 in order of who I think are the best teams. They play at home. I don't care if it's hot as 10 hells or if it's snowing like it's Antarctica. They've earned it by being that seed.
Yeah,
you can't punish them.
And let me ask you this. Ticket sales, hotels, and weather could all be bad in Ames, Iowa. I'm not saying Matt Campbell is going to get there, but for whatever reason, if they were worthy of hosting a first-round game and you take that away based on the fact that it's snowing in Ames, they don't have a great fan base, and they probably don't have a lot of hotels, that's wrong.
Hey, Lunsford will tell you.
Because, by the way, Green Bay gets to host games, right?
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, Kansas City hosted a playoff game where people literally lost appendages. They lost appendages. And the NFL was like, hell no, we're playing.
This is the model, and you guys are jumping in on this. This is what they do in college baseball. Sometimes a 1 seed is playing at a 2 seed stadium because the stadium size.
Well, that's the factor there.
And that is, but that's asinine.
Oh, it's stupid.
That's asinine, and especially if we're going to do it in football. I'm sorry if Miami is a 5, 6, 7, or 8 seed. I'm sorry they don't pack the stadium. They're going to have good weather, but if we're going by ticket sales, if that's a criteria, they don't have the same fan base that they have at Penn State. Penn State. I'm sorry it's going to be cold and snowy, and they have bad hotel accommodations. If they're 5, 6, 7, or 8, Penn State should host.
And I'm going to contradict myself because I said the other day that there is nothing worse big game atmosphere when you're sitting on your couch and you see pockets of empty seats. But that shouldn't be part of the criteria. It just shouldn't.
Yep, I'm with Lance.
Playoff is playoff. You should earn it. It won't be that big a deal if you're adjusting 8 and 9. But how are you going to make up for number 5?
So if
number
I'm
9, right?
If I'm Notre Dame and I'm number 5, the weather in early December in South Bend, Indiana is going to be awful.
Can't be good. And I've never been. How are hotels around South Bend? I assume they've got to be pretty good.
I guess. I don't know.
I didn't see any.
Yeah.
I was in and out. I spent about 12 hours there. I don't remember seeing one.
Yeah.
I really don't.
It's got to be more. I'm going to bet there's more than one.
But you guys remember how bad the hotel scene was in Tuscaloosa just a decade ago?
Yeah.
Like you could not get and still people stay in Birmingham all of the time to make that commute.
So you're going to tell me now, here's what's going to end up happening is they're going to adjust the seatings. But so you're telling me Notre Dame, 11-0 Notre Dame.
Yeah.
11-0, 12-0.
That's tricky Notre Dame now because they've agreed to not ever be 1 through 4.
But he said weather.
Yeah,
the weather's going to suck.
But I think in that agreement, didn't it say that we will always, if we're in the playoffs, we'll always host?
I don't know if that's what the agreement said.
I can't remember. Yeah.
I'll pick another team if you would prefer. Eugene, Oregon. You think weather's going to be good there?
It could, I mean,
I don't know.
It could be bad.
Could be snowing. It could
so what are we
just
going to
be
do? We're
50 and raining.
We're going to look at the 10-day?
And you're going to trust a meteorologist?
I know.
Hey, and you're doing the selection when? You're doing it in the first week in December. We're not playing for 2 weeks later.
That's right.
Nobody. The greatest meteorologist ever can't project the weather 2 weeks out.
And sometimes it blows me away to have statements released like this.
Yeah, it wasn't released. It was an interview.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for today or the next time that Rich is in front of a microphone, or they may actually have to send out a release today, and they're like, whoa.
Time out, Rich.
Weather, hotels, and ticket sales are not going to be a criteria.
By the way, that's what we're excited about, I think. And I think that is the benefit of hosting a first-round game. Whether it's in Miami, like your Dolphins, hosting a game possibly in 85 degrees.
It's a massive advantage.
In December. Or your Penn State, in State College, and you're hosting a game where it's 32 and snowing.
And Lance just hit on a good point. It's just as unfair, or it's not just as unfair. It's just as much an advantage for the Miami Hurricanes to host Penn State in December at Hard Rock Stadium. I see it all the time with the Dolphins. That's why I love when the schedule comes out and the Dolphins get the Bills and Patriots late in the year. Bills and our Patriots late in the year, because I know it's a huge advantage for Miami.
Because to your point, the Bills and Patriots players would rather play in the warm and heat. Yeah, but
they're so used to the cold.
But their bodies don't keep up.
Their body hasn't adjusted, and they get down in what could be a 90-degree day in Miami, even in December, and they melt on that sideline. Hey, by the way, Penn State coming to play the Miami Hurricanes, if that ever happened, that's going to be tough for Penn State.
That's right.
Just as tough as it would be for Miami's players to go play in crap weather in Pennsylvania that time of year.
Yep. Hey, and by the way,
don't be the 12 seed if you don't want to travel to the 5 seed.
And by the way, Ohio State, if they're hosting a game in Columbus and it's snowing or it's windy or it's slick, they've got a great offense.
Yeah.
Just because they're a northern team and a cold weather team, they'd rather play in a dome.
Here's what drives me insane about the people that make decisions in college football, right? Here's what drives me insane. College football comes up with, all right, we got a problem. We need a solution. And somebody says, hey, it just so happens the obvious solution is actually the best solution.
Yeah.
We've gotten lucky here, guys. The most obvious solution is the best solution. In college football, and really it's all the college athletics people say, oh, no, that's too obvious. We can't use that one. No, but it's the best one. Oh, it may be the best one, but it's the obvious one. So let's complicate it as much as we can.
Yep.
College athletics has like a 100-year history of doing that, where they're in a boardroom somewhere and somebody says, hey, by the way, we've got what happens to be the most obvious answer is also the best answer. And they're like, a little too obvious. Let's complicate it a little bit. I will never understand that.
It goes back to these guys. They've got to feel like they're earning a paycheck somehow.
I guess so, Lance. Like, you can't go to a meeting and say, all right, guys, here's the thing. We've got to figure out how to seed 5 through 12. And somebody goes, well, I've got an idea. What about the higher seed getting the home games? And they're like, oh, Ernie got it, guys. We don't even have to order lunch.
That's right.
We're done. But to Lance's point, they're like, Ernie, step on the brakes. Let's don't jump to conclusions here. We're going to debate this a little while.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but those first 4 games, I hope we have the worst weather conditions possible.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Well,
I don't see who's playing in those first.
Yeah, I don't want to see like, what was it, the Bills and maybe the Jets a few years ago where it was like 3 feet deep of snow. But I would love to have a snow game. I'd love to see a hot weather game.
That's what I was going to say. I would like to get a snow game, a fall game, and a hot weather game. And the other one can be whatever it wants to be.